What happens when two seasoned business leaders get together? They talk shop, of course. Sit back and listen in as Scott DeLong and Vince Moiso share from their experience around current issues facing executives, entrepreneurs, and their leadership teams. The CEO Podcast starts now.
Hey everybody, Scott DeLong with the CEO Podcast. I'm here with Vince Moiso as always. Season 5. Having a great time already.
I know.
5, right?
We are third episode. Well, without a guest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The third episode without a guest. Today we're going to talk a little bit about teams and a little different aspect of teams. So we're going to talk certainly how to build a team and all of that, because nobody can do it alone. No one's an island.
Sure.
We do need teams, and there is a difference between a group of people and a team, right? And we can identify some of those things. But the thing I want to talk a little bit more about, though, is one of the things that really creates the glue that can hold a team together, which is adversity.
Yeah.
Or conflict, right? Conflict meaning you and I are thinking about different things, and we can either turn it into a war or we can turn it into something productive. But adversity. So this has got a story. We're going to talk about some sports stories here, right?
Yeah,
but it's no different than the business world too.
Yeah.
We'll bring that into the business world as well. So first of all, let's chat about the value of teams. Absolutely believe 100% that a team working together cohesively will do better than a group of all-stars, whether it's in sports or business. Just will, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what does it take to create a team? We have to have a shared mission. We have to have a common purpose. We have to have alignment on those things. We have to have processes in which we work together. And one more thing, we got to trust each other. We just have to trust. I got to trust that you're going to be able to do your thing, I can do my thing, and we can work together. When you think about, I played baseball, you played football, among other sports, but how many quarterbacks do you need? 1, maybe 2. But the quarterback can't be your blocker, can he, right? You need people with specific skill sets that can do certain things. And like, you don't need 9 shortstops. Someone's got to catch. Someone's got to pitch. And those are different skill sets. So complementary skill sets with a shared purpose and a common vision with people that have trust with each other is what creates a team. One level above that, high functioning team. And this comes from not only a lot of research, but a lot of experience in that care. The word care. We used this in an earlier podcast. We said care and love and things like that, things that don't sound like business thing. But I'm telling you, you want to be a solid team. You have all those things. You want to have a high functioning team. Add in care. They care about you, right?
Well, you're forgetting something too, I think, and I think it's an important piece, is that there are, maybe we can term this as emerging leaders, right? So in a group or a team, there are certain people that need to step up in different functions and different roles, and maybe lead by example or whatever it is. So I think when you're in that environment, especially when you talk about adversity or overcoming adversity, there are certain people within that team or organization that really need to step up.
So what's the leader or the captain's role then? So you have a team and you've got a leader or a captain or whatever you want to call it, depending on sports or business. What really is their role in the team then to make, what makes them a leader? What makes them a captain, and what should they be doing?
Well, I want to mention this before I fully answer that question. It's a great question. I want to point out, I saw on Instagram, actually, a great quote the other day, and I'm paraphrasing, but the quote essentially said, there are 3 things that you can do when something bad happens. Is 1, you can quit or play victim, right? Take the victim mentality. You can do nothing, and then nothing changes, or you can actually overcome and do something about it, right? And I like the third one, right?
You think?
I like the third one.
In most cases, yeah.
But reality is 80% of the population is doing 1 or 2, they're not doing the third one.
Well,
you know,
fight or flight is built into our DNA.
Completely.
Right? It is, and that's one or two in your scenario, is that we do nothing and avoid it, or we run away from it completely.
Yeah.
Right. As opposed to working productively on the issue.
Right. So to your point, right, the captain or the leaders or whatever that is, those are the people that really have to rally everybody else. I mean, so as a leader, you know, and I've faced that type of adversity many times in business and sports. It doesn't matter, where, you know, I've got to come in. I've got to do a couple of things. One is I now have to become a cheerleader. Right. So no matter what, I've got to be the one that shows that, one, I'm not playing victim. We are going to do something about it. I have a plan, and here's what we're going to do. And I need to rally all of you to buy into that. And I want you to come with me. On top of that, I've got to identify those emerging leaders or others within the team or the group that are also going to step up into a more leadership type of role. Because you can't do it alone. You know, even as a leader, I can't be the sole captain. I can't be the only one that's doing that. I've got to find others that are then going to rally more people to get behind whatever it is we need to do.
Rally the troops in those sorts of terms, right? As opposed to making the decisions. The leader does not have to be the one to make
absolutely not. Absolutely
not. They
not.
don't have to be the smartest person in the room and saying this way or my way or the highway. In fact, that's not leadership today. But the person that can rally the troops is the leader. There is no such thing as a leader unless there are willing followers, right? And that's that whole rally the troop thing.
Well, and I think collaboration is really critical too, Scott. You know, you always talk about we versus I, right?
Yeah.
You know, ideas are better when there's a lot of ideas that are coming together, and you can, you know, pick the most cohesive.
We are smarter than me.
We are smarter than me, right? So I think collaboration is really critical. Well, you said, I mean, the most recent example, some of our listeners may be aware of this, but my alma mater, University of San Diego, I mean, this is public news, so it's no big deal. But you know, there was an incident that occurred with the football program that caused a lot of the players to get suspended for up to 3 games, and so it's really been a challenge for that team for the first 3 games, and so they've started the season 0-3, and we played some really tough teams to start the season, but nonetheless, we're doing it with half our players.
Yeah.
You know, so most of the starters, especially the senior leadership, is missing from that team. They can't practice. They can't be suited up for a game. So it really disrupts your ability to practice from week to week, and certainly disrupts your ability to compete. So what that does is that requires the rest of the team, the younger members of the team, to really step up into leadership roles, to set a bigger example, to play at a higher level than what you're used to playing, and it's incredible. And they've done well.
What's the value of that for those younger players?
Oh man, it's amazing. I mean, the experience that you get from that is pretty incredible. And I have to tell you, as a spectator, I mean, I'm very close to the program, obviously, and as a spectator, I love the University of San Diego. I love my Torero football club. This team is really special because what I've seen is a lot of younger players that have totally stepped up to the challenge.
That's great.
And they have,
even while they're losing,
and they have competed. Yeah. I mean, now all you can ask at this point is compete. Give us a chance to win this game. Keep us in the game. They've been in all 3 of those games. And like I said, we're playing really tough. We have a tough schedule, and we played really tough teams to start this season, 3 games in a row. Second game, we went into overtime. We took this team into overtime. And you're talking about a super young crew, true freshman at quarterback. It's insane. So I love watching it. And what I say is whatever the controversy is irrelevant. There's no better way to bring a team together and let leadership emerge than Overcoming adversity.
So what's going to happen next, right? So you're going to be in game 4. The suspensions are going away. People are coming back together. Now what happens?
I'm excited to see.
Now what happens?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a much higher energy. This is my opinion, and I've been a part of something, like this in the past, is that I think there's a much higher energy that comes. I think there's a whole other level of respect that happens within the team because of that.
The older respected leaders who may have been suspended are going to start respecting the younger leaders who stepped up
in a completely different way. Yeah. Totally agree. And I think so. And
it's going to make the whole team tighter.
Yeah. Team cohesiveness is at a different level. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Same thing can happen in your business. I've had scenarios where, a merger scenario. We'll go with a merger scenario where you had 2 different companies, and it was really a buyout, but they framed it as a merger. And you had 2 vice presidents that were both at the same job, only at different companies. Now they're in the same company. And talk about adversity, right? We worked through with these leaders. First of all, they were defensive and hated the other person and all that kind of stuff. But we were able to work through with these 2 leaders the opportunity for them to see things differently, and the power that came after that was tremendous.
Yeah.
Not only did they start dealing with each other, which they wouldn't before, they actually started liking each other through. Go
figure.
I've had the same thing happen when I was growing up. Got in a fight with some kid at a game, right? And he kicked the crap out of me. Afterwards, he took me, and he's a couple years older, right? He took me out and bought me a beer. And we were hanging out and having fun because he respected me not backing down and doing. And the adversity actually brought us closer than we would have been. We would have probably not had anything to do with each other. We just said, F you, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
But we had this serious adversity. The guy gave me a black eye. And there we are having a beer together like friends afterwards. So conflict is not always a bad thing.
No.
How you resolve it. Now, I'm not saying you need to hit someone in the eye. That's not what I'm talking about. I wish it would have got resolved a little different. But that was extreme conflict that ended up that way because afterwards, he reached out to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And rather than just me go home with my tail between my legs, but he reached out to me. So it is the solving of the problem, the resolution of the conflict that can bring people closer together. Your teams on the sports field, within the organization, or just you and your neighbor. It just works that way, right? We can take it the other way and just say, oh, he's a jerk, he's an ass, he's a whatever, and never have to deal with you again. But man, we're losing something in that. Like, I really appreciated that guy reaching back out to me afterwards. It was really cool. Well, I'm going to step up and do something for him.
What I'm hearing you say is, especially in a leadership role. So if you're in a leadership role in a business right now, I mean, this is what you need to listen to. Because what I'm hearing you say, Scott, is the way that you react or handle an issue, a problem, or adversity in any way is going to be critical for whatever happens after that.
What's going to come next? Your conflict resolution process is going to help establish whatever relationship is going to be there later.
Yeah, and I love it. I mean, I'm such a fan of the quote, you win or you learn, right? And you said it earlier. And I love that because it is okay to lose. You are going to make mistakes. You are going to fail, right? Another quote I love is if you think back to your kids, right, when they were learning how to walk and they fell 50 times, it never stopped them from wanting to walk, did it?
No.
They kept getting back up and eventually they walked, right? And then they saw the stair. The next thing was the stairs, right? And
that's
how many
what
times
they walked into is what caused me right now. But
well, but it still didn't stop them.
No, it didn't.
I think that's the interesting lesson from that is it still didn't stop them. It didn't stop them from climbing the couch or the bed or the dresser or anything like that. As many times as we got hurt as kids, it didn't stop us from moving forward. It's funny how we lose those lessons, those little lessons. And then all of a sudden in business, again, it goes back to this, to me, it goes back to this topic of, again, just creating a fearless organization. We talked about the book. We've talked about culture many, many times. But when you have a fearless organization, then you start to think, whatever gets thrown our way, we're going to make it. We're going to figure it out.
So I want to extend that to the employees as well, because I'm going to suggest that your staff is just as resilient as your 18-month-old was when they wanted to continue to learn to walk.
Yeah.
As long as you provide the space for that to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Taking your analogy of watching your toddler learning how to walk and fall and learning how to walk and fall, if you would have strapped them in a seat and protected them, wrapped them in bubble wrap, they wouldn't have learned to walk.
That's right.
Same thing with the employees.
Bubble boy.
My job as a leader is to help, not solve the problem for my people, but provide them with the tools that they can help resolve and solve their own conflicts. And in fact, take those conflicts or that adversity and turn it into something greater than it would have been otherwise. We can do that. That's our job.
Well, we talked about this call that we had on Friday, right?
Yeah.
So leader in my group, on my team, and I wanted to empower her to really take the leadership role in handling this conversation. And it could have gone very bad. She did
go very bad.
She did an amazing job to really set the proper tone for what ended up being an incredibly positive call with a lot of our customers.
And because of that conflict resolution, I don't know what the outcome is going to be, but I'm going to suggest that those same customers who had pitchforks and flames, right, walking into the meeting,
they
had pitchforks and flames there. They are going to be much more receptive in the future to the next opportunity and make sure that doesn't get away from them as well. Right?
I agree.
They now see it from a different light because of the way your staff handled it.
Yeah.
Right?
But, there's a lot of adversity going into that call, right?
Sure.
So a lot of headwinds. It's scary to get on a call like that.
On her end as well. I know because she and I talked right before it. And so gave simple advice. The simple advice is take a breath, relook at the situation. Have you done anything wrong? No. Now, they don't want to hear your excuses or your reasons, right? It'll sound defensive.
Yeah.
So how can you present it in a way that the other folks are going to hear it and be able to respond to say, there's another way of looking at this.
Yeah.
And maybe you're right. And I can almost guarantee that her relationship with those people that are on the call is going to get stronger than it was even before the years that she's working for before, because of the adversity, because of the conflict, because of the problem that was handled appropriately.
Yeah, I think the message here, as we finish up on this conversation, the message here, and I think it's a really, really strong one, as a leader in a business. And so this is who I'm talking to, because I don't, this could apply to the CEO or any C-level position. This could apply to any manager, general manager, VP, it doesn't matter. So if you're in executive leadership or you're in management, you're in a leadership position, which means when you face adversity, you have an incredible opportunity in how you react, or better, proact to what that situation is, and how you incorporate the rest of your team to create solutions for a better outcome.
Not solving it for them, which you didn't.
Support.
I know. She told me, she goes, they said he's going to be on the call, but he's going to let me run it. What a powerful statement that was.
Support, just support. You've got to offer support. You've got to collaborate. You've got to involve your team members. I love what you always say. You've said it in many of our podcasts, which you said it today, which is we is better than me, right? We is smarter than me. All of that. You could plug and play for smarter, better, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Faster,
We is the important part of that. And you've got to remember that. You don't have to solve for it on your own. You're not alone. You've got a team, and nothing brings a team together faster and better than adversity.
Adversity handled well.
Yeah.
Not just the adversity, because that could break people up.
Yeah.
It can. Handling it well. And that's our job, the leader's job, to make sure that we provide the tools so that it can be handled well.
Well, I go back to the quote that I paraphrased. It's you've got a couple choices, and Scott pointed out the psychology of that. As humans, we've got fight or flight that's built into us, and so we tend to avoid conflict or run from it. And I think there's a lot of victimization out there, and I think as leaders we have a responsibility to solve for problems, right? So we can figure out conflict resolution in an appropriate way, and that's your job.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing. But by the time this episode airs, the University of San Diego is going to have a couple more games in there.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see.
Yeah. What the results are.
How they handled that.
Yeah.
Because it can go bad.
Yeah, it can.
If they didn't handle it well, but I don't think that from the leadership that I've seen at the university. The football team better than I do, but the university's leadership, I know.
I'm excited about the new head coach. I'm excited about the coaching staff. And certainly everything that I've heard is that they've handled this incredibly well.
And so I believe then, if that is the case, this is going to be a much better team than it would have been without that level of adversity.
Totally agree.
I don't see any other way.
Yeah.
So
totally agree.
Time will prove us right or wrong, but I believe it's going to prove us right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the key here is, don't fear adversity, kind of embrace it. Understand that it's part of life, and that how we handle that and resolve the problems is what's going to create the future for us, one way or the other.
You got it.
All right.
Right on. That was a good one.
All right. Another good episode. Hey, questions, comments, concerns, subjects that you want to hear, scottandvince@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
All right. Till next time. Thanks for listening. Cheers.
Thank you for joining us for the CEO Podcast. Please visit us at theceopodcast.net, where you can learn more about our co-hosts and listen to past episodes. If you would like to have a discussion and dive deeper into any topic, there is also an option to contact Scott or Vince to schedule some time with them. Thanks for listening.